All right, all right, all right. We're getting there. More energy, more passion. That's what we're getting this week. We may wake up and feel like I can do anything. I'm invincible. Then some communicational noise and emotional noise in the middle of the week. And then very, very productive windows towards the end. And the energy kick. It's like your morning coffee just kicked in. That's what we're expecting on Thursday. Very productive theoretically. And yeah, this is something which we've been waiting for. And this week is like a continuation of something which we talked about 2 weeks ago when we talked about the wild versus the organized, the impulse energy which uh, comes into the game and adds to the planetary party in Aries. So we will get more of it this week. Hello and welcome to our energy briefing. My name is Natalie Ava, and here we read the energies, not the future. Not the future, guys. Whatever will be, will be. Still, the energy is there, and it's up to you. Which pareto choices do you make using this energy? We want things faster, easier. Do we want that? Yes, we want. So we are testing this approach and seeing what we can do about energies every week here in Energy Briefing, specifically on Monday. How was your last week, by the way? My last week was pretty interesting. I worked on some nice ideas, very many ideas that I had in my mind and had very many insights. I wrote them all down. So that was my Pareto choice last week. Did you get any clarity in relationships, or did you have a scandal in relationships? It could be both, depending on what you choose. I worked on my mindset and different cognitive activities. That was really nice. So that was my weekend and my full moon in Libra. I feel very energized today. Moon in Sagittarius. I can do anything. Okay, focus. Let's explore. I feel so happy this week. So, okay, the idea behind this week. What do we have? In the middle of the week, some communicational noise. Some like that's Wednesday. Yeah, that's Wednesday and that's Thursday. Moon square Mercury, so that's our communication, that's how we speak, that's everything what's going on that side, and our emotional side are in square, so there is a little tension. It might be like you say one thing, people may understand another thing. We remember that Mercury is still in Pisces, a little bit drunk and a little bit um poetic. It depends whether your Mercury is drunk or poetic. That's what I talk about when I talk about Pareto choices. So, very meditative mind. And so, communications are like slightly complicated in the middle of the week. And so, if you have important meetings or something where you really have to be present, remember that it might be that you will be heard differently. And also, Mercury is still in Pisces, right? Mercury is very poetic. If you come and throw on the table immediately all the numbers and all of the graphs, Mercury in Pisces might be like a little confused. Emotional inspiration. This is what still matters to Mercury in Pisces until the middle of April. Until the middle of April. Then there will be another energy. For now, this is the way it is. And then on Thursday, yes, around 10 p.m. Munich time. Thursday around 10 p.m. Munich time, big deal, really big deal. We have Mars entering Aries. Oh, guys, and this is a completely different story. Mars is our actions. Mars is our um, is how, yeah, is how do we do things. And this energy enters Aries, and Aries for Mars is the best place to be, because Mars is a warrior. Aries is a warrior, and Mars, it does not just enter Aries, it marches into Aries, and it's a complete different energy shift, and Mars will stay there for some time. So now the impulse is growing and growing and growing. And what do we have right now happening in Aries? We have Sun in Aries. That's what we talked about 2 weeks ago when Sun entered Aries and Sun was conjunct Saturn. We talked about the wild versus the organized. So what are the things in your life which now require which you want to act upon, which is where there is an impulse still, which need to be organized. Saturn is in the first degrees of Aries. Neptune is in the first degrees of Aries. These are the planets which are big deal planets. And so planets are moving there and they all meet one step by step, one by one. They meet Neptune and then they meet Saturn. So the party in Aries is growing. And now we have ourselves there, so our life energy. And now we have Mars entering Aries, and that is a completely different story. This is more energy, this is more passion, this is act now, think later. Still, Saturn is still there. After some time, Mars will come to Saturn. This is not this week. This will be in the middle of the month. Still, this will be the energy. So right now there is like the impulse. Okay, what do we do? You already could conceptualize many things and think about some inspiration, some ideas when everything was in Pisces. That was the energy for this. Now it's action. Now the idea meets action. What is great action? Of course, an interesting action there to do is something where you still feel inspiration, not just whatever action, because Neptune is in Aries, and Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, and Pisces is about idea and is about something bigger, something beyond everything, is about the grand inspiration of what can be. And of course Neptune is there in Aries as well, and he will meet Mars at some point, and will ask, okay, Mars, you want to act? Great, let's do it. What's the idea again? So, what is the big inspiration? What is the big thing about it? Do you have it? Or is it just some illusions, delusions, whatever in your mind? So, big difference there. Then after some time, Mars will come to Saturn, and Saturn is like a passport control. And Saturn is about rationality. Saturn is about planning. Saturn is about discipline. And Saturn will be like, okay, you have great idea, you have energy to act, you have everything. What's the plan? Show me what's the plan. How are you going to take responsibility on this? In this case, please, you can go through passport control, no problemo on that side. So it can be both. And what happens this week is exactly the preparation for this, is exactly the energy is accumulating. If there is no plan, if there is no rationale behind, if there is just ideas and illusions, this energy might feel very, very tense, because Aries wants to act. Aries does not wait. And Aries, and is this kind of energy where you can do very many things within a very short period of time, because Aries is a warrior. Warrior goes to the battlefield, wins, goes rest, right? That's how Aries act. I don't want to even think and talk about what can be on the global level. This is a very big deal, this energy, and whew. And so on the personal level, this is something where everybody comes to Aries, and you will need to do something with this energy. Otherwise, it can feel very, like very high tension, very high aggression, very high, explosive, kind of thing. This shift will be already there on Thursday, 10 p.m. around 10 p.m. Munich time, and this kick will continue for some time. And as I mentioned, new moon in Aries is upcoming on the 17th of April. We'll talk about this in details later next week. This is something to really prepare for. The moon is now, we just had full moon in Libra. Yeah, if you want to start something, so of course you can. Still, I would wait for our next week episode where we will talk about great dates to start things. What else? What else do we have this week? Okay, yes, and then we get into Friday. I really like how Friday looks like. Moon will be in a very stable sign. It will be in Capricorn, so emotions are very organized. And then we have Mars in sextile. Uranus is already in sextile. They will be very precise sextile. So actions and things that that you take may bring some unexpected solutions, some unexpected highlights, something really creative and unusual. Very productive day in general. The whole Friday, also Saturday before noon, Munich time. Really nice. So I think it's a very nice potential for productive work, for talking to people, for understanding also between people, and much more interesting than Wednesday or Thursday. If you have something big happening on Friday, let me know how it went. If you have something big happening on Wednesday, also let me know how it went. We need more data to see how our activities in line with energies work. It might be sometimes that the overall energy is not really promising. However, your personal energy might look very promising. And in this case, of course, it might be that it's even better for you while there is a chaos everywhere. Everybody else is in chaos, but you're fine. Like we had this past 2.5 months. If you are Pisces or you have Mercury in Pisces or like important planets in Pisces, these last 2.5 months were like a jackpot for you. I also felt this. I came up with really nice ideas and really nice project, which I will be announcing at some point on this channel. And something which accumulated in my mind, I finally brought into very interesting research proposition, scientific research proposition, and I'm very happy about that. For some other people, it could have been a very chaotic. It always depends on your personal energies. If you want to know some placements and important positions in your chart, let me know in comments, and we can see what we can do about it. So, the best combination of the week, Friday, great, do nice things on Friday, and Saturday before 12. And now we get to Pareto choices. What would be Pareto choices this week? This week's Pareto choice is taking the given energies, is something to maybe work alone and work by yourself in the middle of the week if there is something where you can isolate yourself and work on your project, work on your things. That's something great to do, for example, in the middle of the week, like Wednesday, Thursday. If something requires a lot of understanding, a lot of communication, that's already something more about Friday energy. That's how it looks like. Also, Saturday morning, great for work. Actually, astrologically speaking, Saturday in general is a great day for work because it's a day of Saturn, and Saturn is about work. And Anyways, Saturday morning, amazing. And we have energy kick on Thursday afternoon. So preparing, accumulating all the things for the big start. If there is some launch or some start, I would suggest to start it later. We'll talk about this next week. In a nutshell, great middle of the week to work by yourself. Great end of the week to discuss the results of the week with the team and to go more into communication. And then Sunday, chill, rest, and enjoy yourself. It might be that towards the weekend, some depressive mode can enter the game. That will be the aspect of one day. Saturday noon time, Moon conjunct Pluto in Aquarius, either transformation or depression. You decide what you do about it. And Sunday, a really nice day to chill, to rest, and to have cozy time. That's all for this week. I wish you a very successful change of gears and change of speed. Thursday evening, we're changing the gears, we're speeding up, and this will continue. This is not the only change of gears that we have in April. The tension and energy will be growing and growing and growing and growing. And Friday, my personal favorite of the week, looks very productive, looks also emotionally calm and stable. Enjoy and thank you, and see you next week.